Hey, y'all. I was gonna make a random WoW video, and I have been sorting through about 11,000 magic cards and doing buy list options for each of them. And I remembered one of my earliest and I think one of my favorite punk facts from Magic. In When I say punk facts, I do actually mean it's punk history. But it also has to do with Magic history, which is always great. I love this game. I've been playing it for on and off over a decade, and this card is not available for a lot of people because of the availability of the Legends set, but we are talking kind of my deck of choice, which is Gwendolyn D. Corchi, one of the first Grixis, which is red, black, and blue cards, and it's a very simple effect. It just makes you discard a card, or an opponent discards a card at random, and they can only do it during your turn. This copy is one of the three that I own. It's not the best condition, but this was made by Julie Barrow. She does a really good uh, art selection. She's just got really great sort of scenery. This character in the storyline before Urza, or I should say the Brothers' War between Urza and Mishra, she was the Temptress of Urborg. So she kind of would lure people. She'd do the old scam of, come to this wonderful area, and she would kill them, which is, on flavor for this character. But you can ask how this is a punk card, right? So Julie Barrow knew the stage name was Mr. Henry, but Mr. Henry was this very lovely young lady. Well, I don't know if they use the pronouns for he or she or they or them, but I should say for this character. So Gwendolyn was actually her name, from my understanding, or Gwen, as she went to school and as Julie Barrow knew her personally. And she was in the band Sick and Wrong, which was a Seattle-based band, I believe, in the early 90s, maybe even a little bit beforehand. They would play, and they were Kurt Cobain's favorite band in the area, or favorite local band. But that part's not important. I actually really don't like Nirvana, even though punk and grunge and sort of that older scene I should be listening to. I listen to a lot more like post-pop punk, as awful as it is. You're looking at, your Dance Gavin Dance, and you're like Help the Medics, and those guys that you think, oh wow, he's gonna get great because he can scream and cover Taylor Swift. But that digression aside, Sick and Wrong was a really good band. Mr. Henry, as the stage name would sort of suggest, would come on with not always the most appropriate attire for a Christian civilization such as ours, but very, very humorously would have a strap on and usually very short to no formal pants, as you would say. And a bra is sometimes there, sometimes not. There was some breast tape from photos that I've seen. I haven't found video of them performing, but I have found audio, and they're very good for that very almost like progenitor to crust punk feeling. And the grunge or the vile is very there. So I made a deck off of Gwendolyn D. Corchi. One thing you really see, there actually is a lot that's modeled here that is off of Gwendolyn's real character that Julie Barrow sort of paid attention to. There's a cat in the background. This is actually the cat that Gwendolyn owned. My understanding is that its name is Georgie Tirebiter. I think it's just one of the best names for a cat. It's right up there with Stormageddon. We had a cat, Rhea Dawnbringer, which I was always very happy with, sort of those nerdy names. But that's how I think nerd culture can kind of coincide and collate with punk. And just a general reminder, if you ever see someone in the punk scene that's like at all gatekeeping or is keeping away from like LGBTQ plus, I guess would be the acronym now, communities or anything there where there's that sort of non-hybridization or that sterilization of the community, make sure to kick the shit out of them, because that's really not what it's about. Trans culture, black culture, all of that belongs in punk more than you'd ever think. There's a lot of really important, like, African American or just black performers that are super important for not only punk but also like post-punk, pop punk, metal especially. It completely fringe population, but the performers that do it are super important. And you can also see some like really good hybrids to the genre, which are super super nice. And I listen to a lot of that more than anything. I do have the formal deck. This is actually your deck, so it's not to show off, but this is just a general Grixis good stuff or discard deck. So I'll just kind of show. But the whole point, I wanted to make a theme deck around like suffering and the idea of making everybody kind of suffer at the same time. So there's a lot of things here. You'll see, Words of Waste, Oppression, Wheel of Fortune. I just love the 7th edition foils. I have to admit, I'm like kind of a sucker. It started off, it was an Urborg themed deck. And, you kind of stray away from that in time. And I have the worst camera setup possible because I just don't care. It's, these are lazy videos. They're meant for me to be fun. That ley line I showed, that is legitimately, I have a friend who's very happy about CDH and plays, well, actually two of them. One is Crick, the other is I think he has Sidisi now, but basically it's the modern version of Dredge would be if you could power it up as much as possible. And I played Leyline out of hand, and he scooped. I also love the kid, super cool dude. But yeah, you just see a lot of these like communal, I don't want to call them anxiety effects, but torture effects. And I really love this deck. I wish that there was a way for the reserved list. I just showed off a video. I have like 10 grand in the reserve list. So I wish there was a way for people to get it out of the hands of the people who've now almost invested in it, like it's a long-term hold stock option, and into players, but there really isn't. So for the people who do play Magic and the people who can, again, I just want to generally stress the importance of proxies. Proxy. I personally do not like proxies. I think that they're atrocious from the sources that I buy, but there are good sources. There are good people in the community that will print them or that will make them sort of these customizable. The same people who usually will paint like tokens for you or will do altars, those sorts of things. And it's good to give those sorts of people business. There's a lot of legal kind of ramifications with proxies and a lot of legal issue when it comes to it. And I know that there are better videos to sort of detail. I just wanted to ramble for a little bit because it's Sunday. I'm bored. I'm sober. I'm up. But in general, I hope that you can enjoy any of the information I've given or dispersed so far. And if not, eat a dick. Thanks so much.